Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ring Diaries here at Church of Uganda Family TV every Wednesday 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. I'm Phiona Mbowa, and I'm very excited to be sharing with you today. Marriages have been under attack, and as we said in every show that we are having, we're trying to see how do we make things better for each and every one, either getting married or who is already married. And today we are going to be talking about a very difficult conversation to have. I'm actually wondering how we are going to have this conversation, but this is after death does us part. Now, when we're making our vows, we keep saying till death do us part, but most of us do not actually prepare for when that happens. With me this evening, I'm honored to be hosting Allen Orishaba, who at a very young age was made to face with that decision of when death does us part. You're very welcome, Ali. Thank you for honoring our invite and being able to share your story with us.
Thank you.
It really means a lot to us. So I think we'll just dive into it. So you now a widow?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Can you just briefly tell us about your marriage?
Okay, about my marriage, I met my late husband during my vacation of senior 6.
Okay.
That was around 95 when I was in my vacation of senior 6. And of course, he approached my guardian. I was serving my guardian,
Okay.
whom he proposed to, and promised to continue paying my school fees, facilitating my studies, because already I was a double orphan and I was staying with a guardian, and raising school fees wasn't easy. So when he came in and promising to give a hand, support my education, then we have to welcome the idea, and I joined the marriage at that tender age.
So you get married in your S6 vacation?
Yes, in my S6 vacation.
Okay. How long after marriage did you lose your husband?
It was shortly 6 years in marriage.
6 years in marriage?
Yes.
At a very tender age?
I was 26 by then.
If you don't mind, can you share with us what happened around his death? What caused his death?
Okay, what caused his death? He was abducted the night of 14th May 2002, and we found him dead, but it's like wrong torture. So
it was an abrupt death?
It was an abrupt death that took him.
So when you were making the vows of till death do us part, did you ever think about the part of him dying?
I didn't think about it because I was young. I was seeing life was simple. He was a young man doing business, and business was doing very well. We never lacked anything, and he was even supporting my education very well. So I was like seeing heaven. I didn't even think about death at that time.
And then here it comes, just 6 years into the marriage.
Yes, here it comes, 6 years in the marriage, as pursuing my bachelor's, because immediately I have to go for a diploma in teaching. Then after, also opted to go for a bachelor's.
So he was actually fulfilling his part of
he was fulfilling his
education.
promise he vowed before my guardian.
And here he is,
yes,
struck in his prime. How did you get through this? Because as we've said, this is something we never think about. So how did you manage to go through this?
It was a trying moment and very painful, because I have little babies, 4 years, 3, and had a baby was going to make a year, because the day we buried him, my baby was making 1 year.
So you have a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old,
and a 1-year-old baby. And we have just wedded in church, only 8 months after our wedding. So this comes in, And unfortunately enough, I had gone for my exams, Makerere University. So the scenario happened when even I was not at home.
So you get to lose this man. You're not at home. How do you manage to put yourself together and get through this very unprepared for event?
Okay, I had to compose myself because a shock has come and I looked at everyone as an enemy because being abrupt. So I just prayed to God to give me strength to face the world.
So you didn't know who had killed him, so
Yeah,
everyone around you.
I didn't know who has killed him. I didn't know what has happened because I've not entered into stories, people to come and tell you this. So I look to everyone as an enemy, to everyone maybe who has caused this. So I have to gain strength and confidence, how I can face the world, how I can face people going to come to console you, because some I expected that they are maybe coming to see how I'm faring, how I'm crying, how I'm reacting. I remember crying once because I was in Kampala. I had to travel with my baby back to Kasese. By then, we were in Kasese. That's why I was doing business, born from Rukunjiri. So I had to compose myself. The only thing that made me cry at first when I was welcomed by my little babies, because the two were at home, when I entered into the house, they said, "Mama has come." They didn't know what was happening. I remember my little girl telling me, "There is a party. Today we'll have a bigger party because of the people that has gathered at home." So I gained strength and confidence because I knew I cried from there, and then I saw tears disappearing because I knew crying, there's someone who is laughing at me in the audience.
Yes. So how did you go through this time, and how did your life change after the death of your husband?
Okay, going through this, at first wasn't easy because I knew it took me a year to isolate myself, but I had people who kept in touch. It's one of my maternal aunties. She kept calling me. She kept calling me, telling me to pray. You see, you are a double orphan. Now you have orphans. What you need is God. And right away, I had grown in church. I was in Sunday school. I grew up as a youth serving in church. So all my life was about church. So I said, if I don't be in church and I trust God, whatever I'm going through, I will not manage this life. So I had to come back to church.
So you had to leave Kasese and come back to Kampala?
Yes, after that scenario, immediately, I did not even sit at home for a week. Immediately, people were also fearing maybe I'll be the next to be killed. So after 4 days of burial, I was given transport by one of his in-law and a car to go and pack all my property and bring it back home to Rukunjiri. So immediately I rushed to Kasese, we packed everything, we left the house empty. I brought the things to Rukunjiri. And when we have reached Rukunjiri, then another cousin sister of the late called me. They were living in Kampala. I said, "Now what, Allen? The moment that you are pursuing your bachelor's, you come to Kampala. You are not going to manage the village." So she calls me, sends me transport.
So I'm trying to understand. 4 days after losing your husband,
I'm on the move.
You're the move shifting.
Yes, I'm the move shifting. Then after settling in Rukunjiri, shortly 2 days, then another one calls me, "You will not manage in the village. Pack some stuff, come with your babies." So I have to leave Rukunjiri, come to Kampala, stays with them with some months. Later, they give me money. I had to start renting.
So how did your personal life, because I'm thinking here you've had a husband, he has been of course doing very many things, he has been the
Yes.
breadwinner at home. How does life change?
Life changed completely because now I had no job, because how I told you, life was simple, everything was being catered for the man.
So when you
I'd
are not
never thought
working,
of working, because now I'm focusing on studies
yes.
and see what to do, because for him he had a vision of later when I finish, maybe we begin a school. I begin a school, I'll be an administrator. So life became hard. I tried business. Business failed because the expenditure was more than the expenditure was more than the income. These little babies need to go to school. In Kampala life, you have to pack for them. You have to board taxis to drop them to school. So life wasn't easy. So what I started on, of course, the people, money agents have started coming. You borrow here a loan pays its loan. Then later in 2007, I was able to join the teaching profession. There was mass recruitment of youth schools. So my first posting came in 2007, though still the man of a teacher was still little.
It's little.
Yeah, it was little, but that one now gave me an opportunity to access bank loans immediately, because I remember there's a time when I found my salary, I would just only get 60,000. My bank Stanbic would deduct for the salary I got from Stanbic. There was Leshiego, these external agencies. They would also deduct from public service. The way they do it.
Yes.
So
you survived on loans?
On loans, I survived on loans. Yeah.
I think for the sake of our audience, how old are your children right now?
My children right now, they are 25,
Wow.
24, and 21.
Wow.
Yes.
So you've seen them through school?
Yes, I've seen them through school with the support of few concerned people.
Concerned people?
Yeah.
So the first one has finished campus?
Yeah, the first one finished campus in 2021. She was a COVID finalist in Chambogo University. The second one also finished. This year he graduated with the Makerere University last month.
Congratulations.
Yes. Then my last baby is at Chambogo University, second year.
And these are children who've gone from 4, 3, and 1.
Yes, from
where
4.
They are now.
Yes, where they are.
How has that journey been?
The journey wasn't a smooth journey. It was full of ups and downs, in the debts, humiliation, because sometimes people would humiliate you once you beg or ask them for a hand of help. They would even pinpoint the schools where your children go. I must testify that my children were bright, and they would be able to be admitted to some of the good schools in the country. And for me, with the excitement, a child has performed very well.
You don't want to tell them
you would think that maybe when you tell your brother, your uncle, who is well, who can give a hand, would be excited to support this orphan.
Yes.
But to my surprise, some would even throw words on you. Don't you see that those schools are for the rich people? Don't you know where what are you doing in such a schools? You schools have come. Why don't you put your children in your schools?
So, Allen, in all this, where is your husband's family?
Okay, my husband's family, they were unable because my sisters-in-law, they are married in the village. There were 2 in-laws that crossed the blood. Their job they were doing was not also very promising. There is one who tried to support but reached an extent and failed. But the other cousin sister of his, I told you, who supported me from the first start, At least he gave me the first healing. She gave me the first healing. Then later there's this family I'll never forget, who has been with me throughout it, the Irungu family. Yeah, he's a cousin sister to my husband and was a godparent to my firstborn, the daughter. That is Joanna Simwe, and the husband. So they stood with me, because even when people were saying, why don't you go back to the village?
Because that was my next question.
Yes, because in the village, the schools are very cheap.
Even the food is...
the food is, you're going to, you do farming, and it is easy to get a job in those village schools. But John will say, no, you're not going to go back to the village. We shall see what to do. He has to make sure whether also eating alone, I also eat alone. We just combine efforts and do what? Make sure the child goes to the school of his choice.
So along the way, God has blessed angels everywhere.
Yes, I can say some guardian angels. He would bring a guardian angel. That's why sometimes when you are praying or you are looking at people, we normally eye people. But God has it. So the people who are rich, I look at people who would be rich. I call them. Sometimes they cut me off. I put high hopes, but God's ways are not our ways. He would bring someone to come and stand with you when even she's also like struggling. So Joan came in, we would struggle, the mama would pray and we push it. And life goes on and the children studied. And they are now finishing. At least I think it is not yet over, but I see it is over.
No, but 2 out of 3 and 1 is...
Yeah, it is over. Not yet
over.
Yeah, it is over.
And we thank God for that.
Yes.
But on the part of marriage, I am still baffled. This is 6 years in marriage for a young girl who got married in Essex back. Wasn't there a point when you were like, but God, what is this?
Yes, of course, I had many questions. And even my prayer has just changed recently. I used to pray a prayer of asking God all the time, questioning God, losing a husband at that
At such a
tender age. And of course, I've looked at my children as my all in all that I have in life. They are the only people that I can trust. And inside me, my vow was that I need to see this child somewhere. But still, I would ask God, yes, I want my children to go somewhere, but God have not blessed me. Because I thought, yes, I don't have husband, but God can bless me, either with a good business or a good job, where I can also do what? Support without maybe borrowing. But still, it could not come. Many questions would still come. But I would be angered by people.
Like you expect someone to help
yes,
you,
well,
to understand your situation.
she does not help. Instead, he's pushing you to go to the village. He's telling you maybe your children shouldn't go to those schools. Where are you getting that money? Who told you? Some questions. So I would say, God, I would pray to God, and sometimes I would find myself like giving up. Yes, I looked at like giving up. But I would hear God encouraging, God encouraging me to do what? To move up. And of course, you have these men that are also surrounding you. They are proposing, but I said, God.
Actually, that brings me to the next one. Why did you remarry? I mean, it would have sorted all your problems, not so.
Of course.
A young girl, I'm seeing
Of
26.
course, but I looked at some scenarios. It's like reading, or people in the community, they have hurried in marriage. You have lost a husband, or sometimes a broken marriage. You see someone again is hustling with this new man for second broken marriages. And I used to have that fear. I thought that what made my man to die, maybe it might also affect another second marriage. Then another thing was my heart was mostly pressed on these little children. Who is going to love them than me? I saw like it was going to be a divided love. So
and someone may come in and they won't be able.
you won't love my children, and
yet you'll also reduce your love because you have to share it with
reduce
this
my love to
person.
them. And yes, I loved my children. I would feel pity for them, not having their father because they were young. I remember one time the boy looked at the photo of the dad. He said, "Mom, when are we going to bring back our dad from where we put him in that pit? For me, I want to go." We spent like a week. We say, "Let's go," and we bring him because we used to have bread. Now you are buying us. There's one time, okay, they were used to the loaf. So when life started, keep cutting. Now you are burning buns. That then they were being bought at 100. So it was easier for them. And one time he was refusing it. We looked at the photo. Why don't we go and bring our dad? Because
Life
the one
was
who can,
better with him.
who can do what, who can buy us that one. So life was not easy. And the children would also throw words that would also bring pain.
That would break you.
Yes, would break you. So you just go to bed, you just cry to God. But I keep hoping. Sometimes I would come, "Don't worry, you study. You will buy yourself bread."
Wow. Now that the children are a bit older, because if the youngest of them is at
21.
campus, 21 years,
Yes.
why aren't you thinking of remarrying?
Okay, I'm not thinking of remarrying again because when now I entered into serving God, my mind now is focused on going into full-time ministry.
Okay.
Yeah, to serve God because Paul's letter to the Corinthians, chapter 7. And remember, the Corinthians were also disturbed by the question on marriage. But Paul told them, to the unmarried and the widows, it is good not to remarry as he did. For him, he lived a single-minded man and focused on the work of the Lord. But he said, those who cannot control themselves, they can go ahead and remarry. But it is good to stay single when you are focused on the work of the Lord. So that's what now I'm seeing. As I kept growing old, I look at serving God, and even that's why I had to go for the theological course, so
Yes, you're doing a theological course.
so that I be equipped to do the work of the Lord.
Okay,
For the
interesting.
good things has done for me, because I wouldn't imagine having 2 graduates in my house.
In your house.
With all the struggles I went through. But all the glory I give it to God. And giving back to God is just to give myself to serve God. Yes.
Okay, that is interesting. But through all this, what has kept you moving? What has kept you going?
What has kept me going, point number 1 is prayer. Prayer has kept me going. Paul's letter to the Philippians 4:6, he cautions us not to be anxious of anything,
Yes.
but in everything by prayer, with thanksgiving, petition, and bringing all our requests unto God.
Yes.
So I think anything, those are the situations, those are the circumstances that come and surround us. So in every situation, I've been praying and trusting God.
Trusting that
And
God
whenever I
is in-
pray, I know that God is going to answer my prayer. So I keep hopeful, very expectant with the prayers I've spoken to my God. So one is prayer.
Okay.
And second point is the word of God.
The word
Because
of
of
God.
course, prayer cannot go without the word.
Yes.
It is always backed by the word. I pray through the word. And whenever situations come, there are some scriptures
That
I
keep
cannot
you going.
live a day without going through them. Most especially the psalmists have got very good scriptures that normally encourages me to push on, like Psalms 23. You come to Psalms 25, 27, 91, 46. There's 121. That one, as I look up to the mountains.
Where does my help come from?
The scriptures have encouraged me to move on. Then another thing that have also helped me is content, being contented.
Being contented.
With what I have, what I am. I have to accept myself. I have to be contented with the little I have. I think also Paul speaks it to the Philippians. That's still the same chapter 4. Where he has done to be content with what he has.
Whether the world has what?
Because that's why he says, I know what it means to live in plenty and to live in lack. I tested the plenty, although it was a short time. But I've also tested living, what I can say, maybe in lack, in poverty. But all in all, I've seen God making a way where seems to be no way. So his word has kept me going. Then another point is fellowship.
Fellowship.
Fellowship. I know at church, I might be the most parishioner that is in many organs. What I can
groups,
say. Those church groups. But they have encouraged me. How fellowship have encouraged me and taken me through. Sometimes you hear a testimony of someone, and you find yourself, at least you are somewhere.
There's somewhere that you're
there's where you are, and you find maybe yours is just something minor, small. Because sometimes you find this one, you're going through that kind of widowhood or a single parenting, and again the children become stubborn. They become unruly. You go and acquire a loan, you pay school fees, your children refuses to study. They go to school, they don't bring a good report. But for me, I will find myself, I'm okay. When I move at the street, you see people in the street, they are begging. Yes, I have loans, I have debts, but I can still maneuver, pay, go through that pain, and I see my child coming home with a good report, with good results, and it would encourage me. So fellowships encourage me, most especially by listening to other people's testimonies, and these fellowships, they kept me busy. Busy. I would not think about either going to hang out with men or to look or to solve life in other ways. I'm always occupied. I'm looking when at the Mothers Union, our fellowship is on Thursday. My timetable, Monday is Christian Women Fellowship. Tuesday I was in choir, there's choir practice.
So you're constantly
Wednesday is mid-service. They need choir members to back the service, or they need someone to read the scripture. So I'm kept in that busy schedule. So I couldn't listen to anything to take away my attention on God. So fellowship have also encouraged me to move on.
Okay, so fellowship has helped you move on and also stay focused and
stay focused and stay busy. And
and as we continue with that, I will go for a short break, and then we're going to come back, and Allen is going to continue telling us her story of till death do us part. What happens after the death comes in? Thank you very much, and stay tuned. Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying tuned to Ring Diaries here at Church of Uganda Family TV. My name is Phiona Mbowa, and I'm here with my guest Allen Orishaba, who is telling us how fellowships have kept her moving, that even after the husband had died, she was able to engulf herself with people that encouraged her and grew her to where she is right now. From children of 1 year to now 21 years, that's a long time. So you were still telling us, apart from fellowships, what else has kept you going?
Giving myself a peace of mind, that inner peace. Because I found out that the world cannot give me that peace. So I have to give myself peace, and that peace has brought me joy.
But how do you get peace amidst all this turmoil? Because I'm thinking this child wants this child
Yes,
wants this,
he
this one
wants-
is not helping you, you're looking at someone for help, they're not helping you.
Because
how do you find peace?
I told you the word of the Lord, because Matthew reminds us that even though we worry, we are not going to add anything.
Nothing at
Nothing
all.
we can add on. So I have to give myself peace. And I think people who don't know my story at church, they think maybe this woman is having maybe a husband or someone that is supporting. Some of them, they don't know that I'm even a widow.
So when
I've
they
been
look at you-
struggling. Yeah, I'm always ever jolly. Whether you abuse me, whether you do what, I just laugh at you. So that is the peace I've tried to give myself, to always be happy with everyone. Even
To live at peace.
Yes, to live at peace with everyone, whether you love me, whether you hate me or not, because no one can give it to me. It's only me to make sure I give myself peace.
Okay.
And
It's interesting how, as we said before, this is something you don't prepare for,
Yes.
and just happens, and you have to figure yourself through as time goes on.
Yes.
Haven't you been pulled by maybe groups of, I think the member has -1? Have you joined such fellowships?
Okay, those fellowships I haven't joined, but I told you there's one of my auntie who introduced me into fellowships of prayer. And that moment she called me and we met, we prayed together, and directed me where I can get my deliverance, and she would even give me transport so that I can pray and be delivered, looking at my life circle. She had wanted me to join Ruth's ministry at All Saints. And I think that was my first church when I was in Kampala. I liked fellowshipping from All Saints, but later transport. I looked at transport when I have a nearby church, so I couldn't move on and even join that Ruth's ministry. But I know they are there. There's also another one who was introducing me to, called it Dorcas Ministry, and it was about to also the widows and all that. But I did not join them because I had already occupied in a Mothers Union. I later joined the Christian Women as in a mission and evangelism ministry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what stops, because I've seen people who, once you lose a loved one, there is
Yes.
this element of maybe self-pity. But what I've noticed about you is, for you did not get to self-pity.
Therefore, one point I was going to come to is that one, not feeling sorry for yourself.
Yes.
It can also hurt you the more.
How have you managed to do that? Because honestly, I keep thinking about 6 years into marriage.
Yes, 6 years into marriage, because from the start, I told you I looked at the world as my enemy. So I thought, if I'm now feeling sorry for myself, people are laughing at me,
are
because
laughing.
people want to know how is she faring.
Yes.
And of course, they get news.
And they don't
Yeah,
even ask because of
they
interest,
want, yeah,
but just to
just
see.
to see, laugh at you. Of course, I would get words from even some close relatives, how I've failed in life, how my husband was rich, they don't know where I put the money, and they were not looking at these children, but people have come to know where my money had gone with the children. I've started graduating.
Okay.
Because even my first graduation during 2021 was a bit of lockdown. We were online. So this, my sister-in-law, I told you, we organized a small lunch for the girl, invited a few people. By those who saw the photos. And of course, when we reached there, we danced, we jumped. When they saw the photos, they thought it was a bigger party of like 100 people. People called me
So you
to
didn't
caution
invite
me,
us.
you didn't invite me.
But
So
were they
you want
part
to
of the-
celebrate.
were they
along.
part of the story?
But he was not, those people were not part of the
Yes,
story.
why do we want to
But
be
they
to
want to come
celebrate?
and celebrate.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how the world is. So the world is just eyeing to see your failures. They are more focused on failures.
So that is what
that's
gave
why
you
it gave me
energy.
strength not to feel pity for myself.
I need to
Feel
work for my
sorry for
children.
myself. I need
Yes.
to work for my children. I want to feel happy in my life, even though I was going through a hard moment. No one could not even realize. I would be even at church when even I don't have any single coin in my bag, but I'm there. I
You're
work.
smiling,
I'm
you're
smiling.
praising.
I'm praising. I serve God, and sometimes I walk home on foot, and no one could not realize. So I removed that element of feeling sorry for
But
myself.
Alan, I am. Were you just brought up as a very? I don't know. I'm figuring myself at 26 and
Yes.
having to put all these things together. Was it just your upbringing that made you a bit resilient?
Yes, my upbringing, I told you, the time of marriage, I was already a double orphan. My mother passed on when I was also a little girl of 4 years. By the ages where my children were, those are the ages where we are. We are also three, 2 girls and 1 boy. And also my mom was short. So I grew up in the hands of my stepmoms until when our dad also passed on, and my aunt had to adopt us. So we have to go to Unjiri, where she adopted us, and that's where I met my husband. So being a double orphan, it has also taught me a lesson.
It built up the
It has to
resistance.
build me. I always have to be keen on whatever I'm going to do. I was always patient with everything, whether I have or I don't have. I couldn't rush. I couldn't rush for any other things or any easy things, because I had gone through that hard moment. And when I was stabilizing, I joined this man who was developing very fast. It was a short time to enjoy that luxury life, so I still embarked on my other past life of an orphan.
Okay, so it's. I don't know if the question I'm going to ask, because given that it was just a short time in marriage, what is the one thing you remember about your marriage that makes you smile even through all this?
Okay, what makes me smile in a marriage? Because remember, the proposal, we had to enter into marriage, which was not official, and he fulfilled his promise. I continued studying, and at one point, he also proposed that we go to church.
Yes.
It was a very, 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 which I can call maybe something I saw very successful in life, that made me happy. And we had a very colorful wedding. Maybe we made even 2 parties, because
2 parties?
yes, we were living in Kasese and wanted to make it at his home area, and many of his friends were in Kasese. So we went to Unjiri, had our wedding, officiated by the then bishop. Is the one who wedded us. We had to wed from the diocese and baptized those 2 boys of ours. Yeah, then after a week, another weekend, we had a party in Kasese for the Kasese people, which was
That's nice.
done at the golf club. So I was so happy. And remember, I was pursuing my bachelor's. So I was seeing life becoming so simple.
Nice.
Yeah, it was becoming nice. But shortly, after 8 months, then that scenario now comes in.
So the most important thing, one, from getting you right, is one, he fulfilled his promises.
He fulfilled his promises, and he had bought, by the way, his own land. Where what I have in the village is his own, had bought it in his own money. And where we did our party, it was on our home, had built. Yes, it was a house, but small, but by that time
yeah.
it was a good one.
That was a good one.
Yes, yeah, I had.
That is interesting. And I'm just wondering, if for people out there, as we've said, this is something we don't prepare for.
Yes.
What advice would you give to the marrieds out there about this whole topic?
Okay, about this whole topic to the marrieds, I think they have to be faithful to their partners. Yes, we say till death do us apart. But to some extent, we can also keep that vow. Moment
Even
that you
beyond
already,
death.
even after death, because you look at a situation when the man had already prepared for you something, you have a home, you have children, then now again, crossing over sometimes doesn't look good, and sometimes it might affect the children. So being faithful to your partner, even if is no longer living, I think can also be something good.
But Alan, if our contract was till death, and death has happened, isn't that
Yes,
end of contract?
yes, it can be till death, but sometimes it is unusual to just bump into things. What if you get this man, I've seen many, and he betrays you? Even getting that love like that which comes abruptly, you are still in love. Getting someone that is going to feel that first love, sometimes it becomes hard. You look at some people, you compare.
Yes.
Yeah,
Keep
you,
thinking my husband used
yes,
to do
he
this
used to
better.
do this, as that has even broken these second time marriages. Even a man marries, he starts comparing with a past wife. He looks at you as like nothing. He does not value you because he had valued someone who was much important, who was maybe organized than you have come
And you
in.
come with your disorganization.
Yes, you come with your disorganization, you come with your confusion, your arrogance, your pride, all that you look into that. Sometimes you say, let them stay faithful. Even after this, you can still be faithful.
Okay. But you've seen people remarry after.
Yeah, I've seen people remarrying. Not everyone can fail. There are some who have remarried and they are enjoying their second marriage, but not everyone is enjoying. Even those who are in the first marriages,
Yes, of
still
course.
they are not enjoying. That's why I normally say that Paul's first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 7, sometimes it gives me hope that you can stay single, but mostly you are focused on doing the work of the Lord. Because temptations are there, trials are there, but when you are in the Lord, I think you can move on even when this does you apart and you don't take a step behind.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alan. And I hope people are actually enjoying this conversation. However emotional it is, I know it is
Yes.
blessing someone. But then my question now goes to when these children go away, because I mean it's just a matter of time.
Yes.
They go away. Isn't there that part of you've neglected yourself for the sake of for putting children first? So now if they move away,
By the way, you are
where is
bringing,
Alan?
yeah, you are bringing that. Of course, I've started realizing it because they are now a youth. They come in when
They come and go as
when
they
they
want.
want.
Yeah.
They go early. Like now, the girl is at least is doing some job, and it's most of field work. Sometimes she can be away for a month, and you feel that vacuum.
Yes.
Then the boy has also finished. He gets some voluntary work. He also moves away. And you're in the house with this second year also student who is
also very
finishing.
busy.
So they sometimes, for us at home now, we lock the house. Okay, I used to have people to stay with, my nieces and what. But for these past 2 months, I'm with my children alone in the house. So we lock the house and go. Whoever comes first is the one who cooks. So we rarely even cook lunch. We cook supper. So sometimes I'm the one to go first home, because my son, of course, is doing is like an evening program. He comes at around 9 p.m. or even almost 10.
So
Then
what happens to
so
Alan?
I reach home, I find myself home alone. My day off, like now it is a Monday and sometimes Wednesday, I find myself alone in the house. So I was thinking of adopting, of course, a child to come and be with me in the house, because I can't stand. And I used to have many people when I had children and my house would be full. By this time, when my children are now taking a step away, we are like alone in the house.
So what happens to Allen? That is my
Now I'm
question.
thinking what happens to me. Yeah, that
Yes.
one I see it, that loneliness, I'm starting to sense it.
Mm.
But I'm looking into, of course you can get there many children around. They are helpless. I'm praying to God that He enables me to have one whom I can stay with from a tender age. That's how that's how life is going to move on. And I think that's why I'm always at church. Many people would wonder and ask, always at church, but why should I go at home?
When there is no one.
When there is no one, and yet at church you
I
can
reach
meet, you
out
can
to
fellowship,
someone.
you can reach out to someone, you can have time with God, time alone with God. You pray and do any work that is there.
So Alan is so surrounded by so much ministry
Yes.
that the only time she's alone is at home.
Yeah, at home.
Yes.
By in my program, even my children, they know it. If they don't find me home, they know
you're
either I'm
at
at church or I'm at work.
But now about enjoying yourself.
That's one I can't lie to you that I've enjoyed myself, unless I'm going out for
With the
party,
women.
like a party with the women, or they normally invite me for when they give out their children, weddings like that, or outings of those organs at church. I think those are the outings I really know. Maybe other outings is that during birthdays of my children, that sister-in-law of mine told you that she has been with us throughout. We would also make sure every child's birthday is celebrated. So we would sometimes move out, Table Beach, for that, but maybe someone had offered us that outing. So I never thought of that going out. My mind is just church, home, work, church, home, work. Now I have studies that are pestering me. I'm doing a tent making. It also needs money, self-sponsorship. So sometimes I'm in Mukono for library work, or I'm online, e-learning.
So you're even studying, you're keeping the flame burning for studying.
Studying and writing. I'm also writing.
Wow.
I have one book is ready. I'm trusting God for provision that I produce it. So when I don't have a lot of work for study, I put my writings down.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Allen. It is very beautiful, and I am hoping that someone out there who has been struggling, maybe you have lost a loved one and you're wondering how to manage. I mean, life has to continue, but you're asking yourself now, we promise that till death does us part, and it now has actually done us part. How do we continue? We have had Allen's story, a woman who is I'm amazed at her strength, from being married in a back to the husband dying just 6 years into the marriage. But here we are,
Yes.
from a 1-year-old child to now 21. This is what we can see and how far the Lord has brought us. But she's told us the many things that have kept her surrounded and farmed together. The church, do not give up the habit of meeting together.
Yes.
She has kept in fellowship, and it is interesting. And I'm grateful to God for you. And I hope that this sacrifice you've given can continue. So I just want you to give closing remarks for our viewers. What do you want them to remember about this whole thing? Anyone who is there viewing.
Okay, anyone who's there viewing, what you need to remember is that God knows us and God loves us. In Paul's letter to the Corinthians again, chapter 10, his first letter, chapter 10, verse 13, where he says that no temptation has seized us except what is common to man.
Yes.
And whenever we are tempted, he always makes a way where we can overcome it.
Yes.
So if you are there, you're being tempted, you are going through trials, know that God knows what we are going through. And he cannot tempt us what we cannot bear, what we cannot bear. Whatever temptation comes, God knows that we are going to overcome it. And we need to defeat it with the word of the Lord. When
Yes.
Jesus was tempted in Matthew 4,
kept
he used the
responding.
word, he kept using the word. So that's why most of the time I encourage you, read the word of God. Let the word of God impact your life.
Yes.
Get that inspiration of the word of the Lord. Meditate upon it and apply it to your life situation. And when you apply it, you'll be able to move on, not forgetting prayer. Yes, and that habit of fellowshipping, that is in Hebrews 10:24-25.
We don't give
Meet,
up
yeah,
the
meet
habit,
people.
yes.
Meet people whom you can relate with. Get counsel. I know there are many people that have ever come even to counsel me. Get a mentor.
Yes.
And in this life, we need the prayer partners. I have like 5 of them, prayer partners. We send prayer requests, pray for me. We meet and hold hands together, and it has kept me going.
Thank you
Yes,
very much.
yeah.
Thank you very much, Alena. Thank you for sharing your story. It is amazing, and the fact that you put yourself and you're sharing your story with our
Yes.
viewers. Thank you very much for watching, and I pray that you've been blessed by the story of Allen, and that God may give you strength whatever you're going through. I'm Phiona Mbowa. Thank you for watching. This is Ring Diaries here at Church of Uganda Family TV every Wednesday 9 p.m.